Now on Nightside, Spokane County Commissioners gave the county a green light to move forward with a lawsuit.
It didn't feel much like fall today, but highs in the 80s won't be around much longer. I'll explain in the First Alert forecast.
You may need to start paying extra attention to your speed when taking your kids to school. The cameras that are watching you. You're watching 4 News Now Nightside. Spokane County prosecutors are now authorized to file a lawsuit against WSDOT. It's an effort to clear the homeless camp in East Spokane. Good evening. I'm Aaron Luna.
And I'm Kirsten O'Connor. This gives the green light for prosecutors to take the next step, but there's still no telling if or when they will file that lawsuit. New on Nightside, Rania Kaur's in studio tonight with the next steps.
Aaron, Kirsten, it was the Spokane County Prosecutor's Office that recommended this resolution be passed in the first place. The commissioner's decision today gives prosecutors permission to file a lawsuit. By approving the prosecutor's lawsuit, the county can now move forward with declaring Camp Hope a nuisance and start the process of clearing campers. The lawsuit would also give county prosecutors the go-ahead to put a special assessment on the property, which means the county can go after WSDOT to recoup the cost of clearing the state's largest homeless camp. A spokesperson for the county explained the commissioners wanted to approve this action so the sheriff had the support he needed to address the situation at Camp Hope. Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich says his goal is to clear it out in a matter of weeks rather than months. WSDOT owns the property the Camp Hope is on. It said it wants to work with local officials to clear the camp in a way that helps the people there find more permanent housing and resources. The county files the lawsuit. We are still unsure if the county will file the lawsuit against WSDOT. If it does, it would give businesses and neighbors who have been negatively impacted by Camp Hope to make the case in court to get it cleared. We'll continue to update you as we get more information. Aaron, Kirsten?
Rania, thank you. We've had a warm start to our week, but will that last heading into Wednesday? Chris Crocker has your forecast.
We do have more warm, sunny days in the forecast. Here are 4 things to know. The mornings are cool. If you are looking for some fall weather, if you get up early, you will feel it. However, warming up nicely again tomorrow in the 80-degree range. Above average temperatures will continue through the forecast. We'll be watching our air quality over the next several days. We do still have some fires burning around the region, most notably in the Cascades. And so far, that has not had a tremendous impact on the air quality in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. We've been somewhere between good and moderate for the past several days. A little bit different story as you head further west along the east slopes, particularly in the Wenatchee area, where it's gotten into the unhealthy range off and on over the past couple of days. Meanwhile, here's a look at our high temperatures today. 15 degrees above average. Here we are in October with 80s in Spokane, downtown Spokane, and Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake, and Post Falls. 81 today in Hayden, as well as Deer Park. Temperatures currently are in the 50s. However, we're cooling down rapidly again. It's going to be a cool start to the day tomorrow before we bounce right back up into the 80s. 52 at 8 o'clock after a morning low in the 40s, high temperature of 80. We do have some cooler weather in the 7-day forecast. I'll let you know what to expect in just a few minutes. Aaron?
Thank you, Chris. Tonight, the community asking for justice for a man shot and killed by police. Robert Bradley was shot and killed a month ago by police in Hilliard. Police say they opened fire after a neighbor reported seeing Bradley walking around with a gun. 2 officers involved remain on administrative leave. Bradley's children, his fiancée, family, and friends all gathered to share memories and remember him.
1 minute we're walking down this exact park, and then an hour later he's dead in our driveway. Literally that fast. I want people to know that he should still be here, that there was no reason for it. He wasn't doing any wrong.
This case is still under investigation by the Spokane Independent Investigative Response Team.
Millions of dollars are now going to reconnect communities across the state. Washington's Department of Transportation is getting a $5 million RAISE grant, and that money is supposed to help improve infrastructure in underserved communities. East Central's next on the list. With the new funding, DOT plans to create a pedestrian bridge near Liberty Park. They say it would be safer for pedestrians, could cut down bus transfers for people, and would encourage more trail use.
Having that land bridge, it's gonna build connectivity not just for pedestrians but bicycles. It's gonna actually be able to be a placemaking opportunity for that green space, and it's a beautification.
As the chair of East Central's Neighborhood Council, Randy McGlenn is advocating for even more improvements. He says the current pedestrian paths above I-90 are rarely used and should be updated. He also wants to make sure East Central doesn't lose its on and off ramps to I-90. McGlenn says it's time for new investments to East Central's infrastructure.
You'll want to think twice about speeding through school zones on the South Hill. Safety cameras near Adams and Roosevelt Elementary and Ferris High School are now issuing warnings to speeders. But that's ending next month when the city will start giving tickets to anyone going above the speed limit. Consequences for not slowing down can be deadly. The city council wanted to find a solution to the growing problem after an elementary student was hurt by a speeding driver back in 2014. A dad tells us he feels safer about bringing his children to school now that the cameras are up.
I see a lot of speeders go in and out of the school zones anytime, and I know school zones go on a lot of a block area, but most people don't understand that. And most of these kids live close by too, and no one really sees a small 1-year-old, 2, 3 blowing across the street.
The city is set to issue tickets starting November 1st. Tickets can cost you anywhere from $200 to $450, so you'll want to take it slow.
Well, you may feel like traffic comes to a crawl when driving through a school zone, but it is important to remember that just going a few miles over could be the difference between life and death. Experts say a person hit by a car going 20 miles an hour has a 90% survival. That drops to 50% at 30 miles an hour and as low as 10% at 40 miles an hour.
It is time for Nightside Sports. Let's bring in Alex Crescenti.
Well, Aaron, we are in the full swing of the college football season, but it's about time for that college basketball to get underway, and the road to the Final Four begins for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And that means another year of playing some of the top teams in their non-conference portion of the schedule. As the teams released that schedule on Tuesday, and it's not lacking the number of marquee games. We've known for a while that these games are going to be, for the most part, and I think it's safe to say this is easily their toughest non-conference slate ever. They're going to open up play in just a few weeks with an exhibition against Tennessee down in Frisco, and then follow it up with another next week against Warner Pacific before actually getting the regular season underway on Monday, November 7th against North Florida inside the Kennel. But after that, it's where it gets a bit interesting. They're going to play Michigan State on the deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln down in San Diego, only to follow that up with a matchup at Texas before returning home to play Kentucky on November 20th. That game is going to be played in the Spokane Arena. As if that's not tough enough, they're going to go over to Portland to participate in the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament, which features the likes of Duke, Florida, Purdue, and West Virginia. No easy task there. After all that, it's even more neutral site games, this time against Baylor in a rematch of the 2021 National Championship game. That'll be played in Sioux Falls for some reason. Then it's finally back to the Kennel for 3 straight home games, Washington being the headliner. Then back on the road to take on Bama, one of 3 teams to beat them last season, and they will wrap up the gauntlet against Montana and Eastern Oregon during the Christmas break. Now, coming up a bit later on in sports, we're going to check in with the Eastern Washington Eagles as they are set to play another top-ranked FCS opponent, as well as show you the highlights from Game 2 of the Mariners doubleheader, and we know where they're headed in the postseason. Aaron, Kirsten, send it back to you.
Alex, thank you. If you're looking for love online, you may want to watch out for catfish. The scams Idaho police say are on the rise.
And Hurricane Ian makes history in Florida, still forcing people into shelters on the East Coast in its aftermath.
A kid rushed to his classmate's rescue when he noticed he was choking. That story's coming up next.
Sleep is for suckers anyway.
Four News Now on your time with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
4 News Now is brought to you by Washington State Employees Credit Union.
If you're turning 65 soon or over 65 and planning to retire, now's the time to learn more about an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan from United Healthcare and get help protecting yourself from the out-of-pocket costs Medicare doesn't pay. Because the time to prepare is before you go on Medicare.
Don't wait. Get started today.
Call United Healthcare for your free decision guide.
Thanks to Joe Biden, food, Fuel, everything costs too much. His energy policies and massive spending spree are driving skyrocketing prices, fueling the worst inflation in decades. 2 years ago, we were a self-sufficient, energy-independent, energy-exporting nation. Today, our energy production has been crippled. I'm Mike Crapo. I approve this message. Let's stop the spending free-for-all, let loose American energy, and fix inflation.
New tonight, Jimmy talks to a man with a deep fear of woodsy critters.
Hey, are you the squirrel guy?
Plus, Norman Reedus is here to save the day with Danielle Deadweiler and music from Miranda Lampert. Jimmy Kimmel Live, new tonight on ABC and stream on Hulu.
My son's name was Carson. He was just the light of my life. His anxiety and his inability to sleep caused him to purchase a pill from Snapchat, and we know that it's what killed him. Congresswoman McMorris Rodgers is bringing awareness to this. She personally reached out to me. She took the time to hear Carson's story. She has been driven in trying to prevent further loss.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rodgers, and I approve this message.
Oh, life, we hear you beating out the rhythm of our days. We know you live fully. It's why we pioneer new treatments. Because when it comes to matters of the heart, you deserve world-class health care. Providence, we see the life in you.
4 News Now is brought to you by Providence Help.
Thanks for staying with Nightside. Idaho officials are sounding the alarm as the number of romance scams are on the rise. The Department of Finance says one Idahoan reported losing a big amount of money to catfish scamming, a form of romance where the scammer creates a fake online account to establish a relationship with the victim. To avoid falling victim to one of these scams, the department says don't trust, verify. Do your own research online to get a better idea of who the person you are dealing with is. Most people have some type of online presence, including personal and professional information. Also, do a reverse image search, since scammers normally use real or stock photos taken from other websites. For more ways to avoid getting scammed, to look for this story on KXLY.com.
Well, Hurricane Ian is now considered to be the 25th deadliest hurricane in U.S. history. Officials say at least 105 people have died because of this storm. Drone footage of the Fort Myers Beach area shows just how widespread the damage is. Search and rescue teams are out in full force nearly a week after landfall. Thousands of people have been pulled from their destroyed homes and taken to shelters.
So far, we've done over 842 rescues, and unfortunately, we've had 55 total deaths in Lee County.
Officials in Fort Myers Beach say the electrical infrastructure was destroyed and might be months or potentially just 1 month before power is fully restored, but they do hope to get the lights back on for most people by Friday. It's just awful to see, and still getting updates from friends and family in Florida.
Yeah, that's tough.
I do know meteorologist Chris Crocker has been talking about some unseasonably warm temperatures for our start to fall here.
Way above average, Chris?
Yes,
how long are these lasting?
Well, we're going to stay with above average temperatures through the 7-day and beyond. Cool mornings, however, 49 for an overnight low tonight. We do have a few clouds passing through, partly cloudy overnight, sunny and warm tomorrow with a high temperature of 80 degrees. Our ridge has flattened just enough to allow a few clouds to drift through tonight, just filtering the moonlight a little bit. They will not be around long. We will be clear by tomorrow morning as high pressure is flattening just a little bit. Here's Wednesday at 11 o'clock, but then it will be building for Thursday. I don't think you'll notice much of a dip. We're going to see our temperatures staying right around 80 degrees. A lot of sunshine. We'll start to see a slight cooling trend toward the weekend, but temperatures still running more than 10 degrees above average. Overnight lows tonight will be down in the 40s in most locations. A few 50s on the map, including in Kellogg, Grand Coulee, 51 overnight in Omak. And then those high temperatures tomorrow. We will be in the 80s in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, 70s in Kellogg, Sandpoint, and Bonners Ferry, but those are the exceptions. Everywhere else, it is 80s. Here we are in the first week of October. Here's a look at your planning forecast. We'll be staying in the 80-degree range through Thursday, and then, as I mentioned, a little bit cooler, but these 70s are still above average. It's Nice that warm, sunny weather is going to stick around for the weekend. Most welcome. And then we're a little bit cooler at the beginning of next week. 69 on Tuesday, but our average high by this time next week is 61. So we are still not even in the ballpark. I'll be back in just a few minutes talking about some of the dew that we see around recently in the mornings, why that is forming in just a few minutes. Aaron?
Thank you, Chris. With winter right around the corner, bears. Bears. I feel like a bear's watching me right here. Bears are hitting berry buffets, not Aaron buffets, and packing on the pounds for hibernation, which means the Katmai National Park's Fat Bear Week is back. It's a bracket where you can vote on which bear you think will be the fattest of them all. It's meant to celebrate how well they've done at putting on the pounds preparing for winter. Here's how it works. Each set of bears will go head-to-head in a single elimination March Madness style tournament where you can vote on which bear you think is the chunkiest until one bear is named the Titan of Tonnage. Voting opens tomorrow, but we have a link to learn more about bears in this year's tournament on KXLY.com.
It's my favorite story of the night. Well, a student took control of a dangerous situation when his friend choked during lunch. His story is coming up.
Later tonight on Nightline, Constance Wu speaks out. The troubling allegations of harassment she says she experienced in the early years are fresh off the boat, and the tweet that nearly got her canceled. Plus, Herschel Walker under fire again.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
Spokane and North Idaho's country leader.
It goes like one margarita.
Bluebird in my heart.
Baby, you're playing hard to forget.
The big 99.9 Coyote Country.
The internet is full of misinformation about how elections work. There are several things you can do to spot misinformation. Be cautious of headlines designed to provoke anger, fear, or other strong emotions. Double check that the source of information is a trusted expert. And see if other news outlets are also reporting on the issue. You deserve to know the facts about Washington state elections. Visit sos.wa.gov to learn more.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. But one day, this farmer will use augmented reality to help ensure the best yield. Urban planners will model traffic solutions to help decrease commute times. Exploring a spacecraft in a museum is one thing. But one day, the metaverse will help students learn about the rings of Saturn. The metaverse may be virtual, but the impact will be real.
It is Sober October, a time to go alcohol-free. It's good for your health, and it can help loved ones in recovery.
We will check out the alcohol-free social scene at Inland Kava Bar and show you how you can get a free beverage.
That's tomorrow on Good Morning Northwest, starting at 5 a.m.
My husband has diabetes.
Even with health insurance, we're having a hard time affording our medications.
Thankfully, we have Patty Murray fighting for us in the U.S. Senate. She kept at it till Congress finally lowered the cost of prescription drugs.
And capped insulin for seniors at $35 a month.
Now we'll save thousands every year. We know when Patty is back in the other Washington.
She is working for us.
I'm Patty Murray, and I approve this message.
4 News Now is brought to you by Super One Foods.
Thanks for staying with Nightside. Hospitals across the country are cutting services and trying to find creative ways to save money. And that's not the case yet here in the Inland Northwest, but that could soon change as local hospitals deal with increased costs and staffing shortages. An executive at MultiCare says they've lost more than $250 million this year, with $22 million in August alone. He says a big part of that comes from not being able to discharge patients who no longer need medical care. At one point, MultiCare says they had more than 200 patients who had nowhere to go, costing the hospital hundreds of thousands of dollars. And add on top of that, the hospitals are being forced to hire expensive travel nurses to help deal with staffing issues.
At times, those numbers have been as much as $30 million of additional expense per month to care for the high demand and acuity of patients.
To help deal with staffing shortage, MultiCare says that they're partnering with other hospitals to invest and help train the next generation of nurses and certified medical assistants.
A new study says pregnant women shouldn't worry about taking some types of common antidepressants. Published in the JAMA International Medicine Journal, the use of these drugs is not linked with medical concerns like autism, behavioral issues, and mental disabilities. Previous studies say antidepressant use while pregnant could cause problems, but those involved with this study say the quality of that research could be lacking.
New tonight on Nightside, an 8-year-old Oklahoma boy was honored Monday for saving his classmate at school.
Garrett Brown jumped into action performing the Heimlich maneuver when that classmate started choking. Mecca Rain has the story.
Are you ready to hear who our real-life hero is? When I say his name, I want you to clap louder than you've ever clapped before. Come on up, Mr. Garrett Brown!
That's the 8-year-old who jumped into action when a fellow classmate was choking.
It was chicken nugget day here in the cafeteria, which the kids absolutely love. But on this particular day, during the 3rd grade lunch, there was a student who was eating, took a bite, and began choking and couldn't breathe. And so immediately the boys around him stood up and yelled for help for me, who was the adult in the room at the time, and I was across the cafeteria. So as soon as I heard them yell, I ran over. However, there was a student who went way above and beyond just calling for help, and he immediately sprung into action.
But little did anyone know Garrett Brown had some training on the Heimlich maneuver, and he moved on it, dislodging the food from Cashton York's throat, a moment neither Cashton nor his parents will ever forget.
That was extremely scary to know that in a matter of seconds my child could have choked to death on food, you know, at school when you're not around. There's not enough words to be grateful for saving him.
That sentiment shared throughout the school and community, prompting this assembly in recognition for applying life-saving knowledge no one here knew he had. Cashton thanking him publicly.
Thank you.
And in case you're wondering how he knew what to do, his dad, his own hero who saved him, also taught him.
My dad, he taught me whenever I was choking. And so he taught me how to do it in case anybody else was doing it.
You're the best friend in the whole world I ever had.
Mecca Rain, KOCO 5 News.
Oh, isn't that a nice story? Nice bedtime story. All right, wake up tomorrow morning. You may see a little dew on your grass. A big topic of conversation at my house because 2 of my dogs will not walk on the grass if there is dew on it. So you can imagine trying to get them to go out and do what needs to be done in the morning. Here is a look at our current dew points. It all has to do with the dew point. Imagine that. That is the temperature at which the air is saturated, can no longer hold any moisture. And this time of year, you know, we had those recent rains last year, so there is more soil, or last week rather. Seems like it's been a year, but we have a little more soil moisture than we've had most of the summer. So the temperature is, again, the dew point. Let's just say it's 43. That is the temperature at which the air can no longer hold any moisture, and we get condensation. The air just above the grass, as that temperature drops at night, and this time of year with the clear skies, the very long night, the light winds, all the ingredients to allow that temperature to drop to the dew point, that is when that air cannot hold the moisture any longer, and we start to see condensation in the form of dew on the grass. And that's what we've been seeing the past few nights. Additionally, the same process works with fog, and we've got a little bit of fog here in our pick of the night. This is from Jeff O'Shea, a Liberty Lake sunrise with some fog hugging the mountains around the lake, and those chairs that we have seen, Kirsten may not know Jeff O'Shea yet, he frequently sends pictures of his beautiful scene at Liberty Lake, and he's got some nice spots to sit there that we always say that we're going to show up and sit in those chairs one of these days. Kirsten, you'll have to go with us. Yes, we're going to crash Jeff O'Shea's Liberty Lake house.
Thanks
have
for
a
the
swim,
invite, Jeff.
have a sit, and enjoy maybe the sunset, maybe not the sunrise.
Yeah, no, that's way too early. No, thanks, Chris. A shocking report following an independent investigation into abuse allegations within U.S. women's professional soccer. Members of the U.S. women's national soccer team are furious over misconduct in the American Women's Professional League. An independent investigation led by former acting Attorney General Sally Yates says there was widespread misconduct on the part of male coaches, ranging from verbal abuse to sexually charged comments to, quote, coercive sexual intercourse.
Things that have gone on, the things that have been unearthed are much bigger than soccer, much bigger than any training or game.
The report included more than 200 players and personnel interviews with firsthand reports of abuse, of misconduct at organizations in the league. And the Seattle Mariners officially locked up their playoff position tonight. Coming up in sports, find out where they'll be headed when the postseason starts on Friday.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
4 News Now is brought to you by Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Security video captures a little girl by herself.
How old are you, sweetheart? She's 3 years old. She's in the parking lot standing here by herself with a pillow.
She had blood on her. The hair is just sticking up on my arms.
Oh my gosh, there's blood on the front seat.
This Teacher of the Year just vanished.
Solving the crime comes down to a child.
What actually happened was extraordinary.
The all-new 2020 event, Friday at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Democrats in Washington are threatening our way of life. Reckless spending fueling inflation. Shutting down energy production here at home. A push to defund the police. Kathy McMorris Rogers is fighting every day to stop them and protect Eastern Washington. Cutting spending to curb inflation. Unleashing American energy production. And making sure law enforcement has the resources they need. Kathy McMorris Rogers, our voice.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rogers, and I approve this message.
Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning is your family-owned and operated #1 HVAC contractor in the Northwest. Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning would like to introduce our own carbon reduction program. Buy a new energy-efficient furnace from Bill's Heating and receive a matching air conditioner with installation absolutely free. No hidden fees, no conditions, no exceptions. Buy a furnace, get a free AC from Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call today for estimates and repairs.
Thanks to Joe Biden, food, fuel, everything costs too much. His energy policies and massive spending spree are driving skyrocketing prices, fueling the worst inflation in decades. 2 years ago, we were a self-sufficient, energy-independent, energy-exporting nation. Today, our energy production has been crippled. I'm Mike Crapo. I approve this message. Let's stop the spending free-for-all, let loose American energy, and fix inflation.
After playing on Sunday afternoon down in Gainesville, Florida, the Eastern Washington Eagles arrived back home early Monday morning and finally got into bed just before the sun was coming up around 4:30. But as strange of a week ending as it was with a blowout loss, the team had to get up and prepare for another stiff test on the road this weekend, this time against 4-0 Weber State. Now, the Eagles find themselves in a bit of a strange place with a 1-3 record for just the second time in the last 10 years. Of course, that schedule has been a gauntlet to get through as the team played against Power 5 opponents Oregon and Florida, and then starting Big Sky play against top 5 ranked Montana State, in which they lost in the last few minutes. But even through all the early struggles, head coach Aaron Best is still saying the message in the locker room isn't changing from what it was on day 1 of the season.
After Florida kind of gave us more confidence, like, hey, like, we just played the SEC team.
They're pretty good. We did pretty good. We can come in and do something special, coming into conference. So I think coming in this week, we have some confidence. I think we can do some good things this week.
That's what the outsiders want. They want the scoreboard to reflect actually how good a team is. Coaches know it's not always that case. You could be fooled by the scoreboard too, good and bad. So the message doesn't deviate from what it was. You don't change your message based on the outcome of the game. You challenge them in the same way. Pick out things that we've been good at. We sustained a lot of good things offensively against an SEC team that's
After the Seattle Mariners took Game 1 of their doubleheader this afternoon over the Detroit Tigers, they officially locked up their playoff seed, as they will be the 5th seed in the American League and headed north of the border to take on the Toronto Blue Jays in the wild card round. But they still had 2 games left to get through, and as meaningless as they really are. Well, let's get to it. Bottom of the first, bases loaded for Dylan Moore, but he's going to be hit by the pitch. So Julio Rodriguez is going to come home. He says, "Thank you very much." In Seattle with the early lead. A few innings later, it's still the home team on top, and Abraham Toro is just going to hammer this ball to right. Hits it off the Hit It Here Cafe. That's his 10th of the season as the M's extending out that lead. This all has to be welcome news for the fans to see that offense getting going right before the playoffs. Look at them celebrating in the beer garden. Now in the 5th, Seattle down a run, but Cal Raleigh was the hero on Friday night to send them to the postseason, and he comes through again with this shot to right for the solo home run to tie up the game, his 27th on the year, and the Mariners come from behind to take this game.
I can't say enough about our team. I often say our guys like to compete. They know how to compete. They're grinders. They're gamers. Today is the epitome of that. You know, you're right at the end of the season. We know we're going into the playoffs, but our guys don't quit. They want to win. They want to win every game. They want to win every at-bat, every pitch when they're out there, and that's a credit to them, and really a joy being around them. They just don't back off. Guys are getting hit by pitches. They're fouling balls off their feet. They're getting hit by, it's crazy how banged up we are, and we continue to find a way.
And after 161 games, just 1 remains in the regular season, as the team will be going for their 90th win of the season for the 2nd straight season. Former Gonzaga Bulldog Marco Gonzalez will take the mound for the M's in that one. 4 News Now. We'll be right back.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app. At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
I met Anidas 10 years ago. He didn't have bad credit, but he just had no credit to begin with. I took the time to really go over some options with him. Fast forward 10 years down the road, he's got his business account with Numerica. He's looking to buy his second home also with Numerica.
Some days your body is a temple, and some days the temple wants sugar. You might relieve stress naturally on Monday and plan for it on Tuesday. Because being human isn't always so fries or salad. Sometimes it's both. So relax with essential oils or a glass of Cab. Fall asleep with melatonin and wake up to caffeine. With traditional medicine and alternative remedies, there's no wrong way to treat life at Rite Aid. And now, get your flu shot and updated COVID-19 booster with easy scheduling plus walk-ins available daily.
Oh, life, how we admire you, are deeply fascinated by you. All your twists and turns and wild rides you take us on. The ups and the downs. Life, you live inside all of us, breathing, growing, beating. You are the reason we'll always provide world-class healthcare. Providence, we see the life in you.
Here at the Meade School District, energy management, it's been something that's been on the rise as far as what's important to us. The reason why is, as the budget continues to shrink, we need to do more with less. Yeah, I love Avista. They've been really great to work with. When I have energy efficiency ideas, I get in touch with my rep. They'll go back to their project managers and to the engineers. Avista does a really great job at telling you what the simple payback will be of any of the projects, and then you can make an educated decision on whether you want to move forward.
See breaking news in your area or have a story idea? Contact 4 News Now.
If you're craving a late night snack, it is Tuesday, and it is also National Taco Day. You're
26
welcome.
minutes left.
Get out there and enjoy it. October 4th is the day to chow down on a tasty meal, hard shell, soft shell, with some cheese. If you like the meat, maybe some seafood. I could really have any of these. I do love a dollop of sour cream, just a dollop. You know, a little dollop of, you know,
Daisy.
Yeah, you know the Daisy commercial. All right, well, we have Mexico to thank for tacos, and we really enjoy tacos every Tuesday at my house. We had enchiladas tonight.
What?
We had them at my house tonight.
We had burgers.
Taco